Jason at True Vintage RC. Thank you very much for choosing to stop in and check out my video today. So let's talk all things JC Racing products. So John Broadhurst over in the UK has for many years now been making 2.2 inch rims for our vintage cars, or we call them vintage now, but back then he would have been making them when they were still the latest thing around. So I initially came across John's products when around mid-2000s I started getting back into this whole vintage thing, and you know, I started in around 1985, 86, something like that. I bought whenever the first Optima had just been released. And I'd spent some time racing at the Bormac track in Sydney, Western Sydney. And they didn't even have 2.2 inch wheels back then. They were just 2 inch or smaller, 1.9s, 1.5s, whatever they were. Anyway, so when I came back into RC off-road, it was around about mid-2000, and I was looking to buy some 2.2 inch modern rims, well, or modern size rims to fit the modern rubber that was around. And I had a Shoemaker Cougar 2, and I had a Boss Cat, and I wanted to get some 2.2 inch rims, and Shoemaker did of course make their Aero disc rims, and even back then they were pretty thin on the ground. To find us a pair of or a set of those rims, it was not easy. So I jumped on eBay and found that there were cars available, Shoemaker cars, which I was buying at the time just to get a hold of these white 5-spoke JC Racing rims for my Shoemaker, because they were a unique fitment. They didn't have the standard hex drive system, they have the castellated fitment. And John at JC Racing had been making these wheels for years, and I don't know why I didn't think about it back then, but I didn't think to actually chase up and see if he was still manufacturing or still in business. And I still to this day don't know whether he stopped at any point or whether he just was continuing to do business from the time that he first made the wheels. But anyway, I'm going to say it was around 2010, and I'd learnt that, you know, John was still making these rims, and I bought a whole big box of brand new rims, and I thought it was like Christmas. So that's how I got familiar with JC Racing products. And so in front of me here I have this new to me Losi 2-wheel drive XX buggy, and now I've got the JRX2, the JRX Pro, the Pro SE, I've had the Junior 2, and I have owned XXs in the long distant past, but I never really raced them. I mucked around with them out in the park, but I never really took one to a track and raced it. But so, you know, as with all things in vintage RC, I decided that once I got into the Losi XX4s, I should get into a Losi 2-wheel drive as well, XX 2-wheel drive. So anyway, an order was placed with John for some of his wheels, which I could get, you know, matching onto my cars. So for the 2-wheel drive and the 4-wheel drive, he does the same pattern rim for the Losi, which is great. So thank you, John. So yeah, I've always liked his rims, and I've got boxes and like tubs and tubs full of JC Racing 2.2 inch rims for Tamiya, Shoemaker, Yokomo, Kyosho, and now Losi. Also for the Traxxas TRX1, for the Associated RC10. You know, he does them all. So, but not to rest on his laurels, John said to me, look, with this rim order, could I send you out some samples of these new front suspension arms he's making? So for the 2-wheel drive, he's doing the front of the Losi XX suspension arms, and for the 4-wheel drive, we've got the front XX4 suspension arms. So I haven't had a chance to get this car to the track yet. I've only just built it, and haven't even got a body painted for it yet, so I'm at that stage. But the Losi XX4 I have driven, and I can say, and maybe this is a bit of a name drop, but at the Vintage Bash 2.0 down in Melbourne back in last year, end of 2023, I was wheeling my other XX4, which is this one here, which has an aluminium front upright. So there's very little give. So if you hit anything, it's going to break the arm straight away. And surely enough, boom, snapped the front arm. So they are a graphite arm, you know, and they are, I reckon they're a bit stiff and probably a bit fragile. So yeah, surely enough, the weakest part went, which was the suspension arm. And thank you very much to Rory Cole, who was actually out there on the track at the time, marshalling. And I didn't bring many Losi spares with me because I just get caught up in the whole event. You know, I'm filming and I'm running around and I'm, you know, hanging out with friends, and I take all these cars and sometimes I forget bits. So I needed this small part here, which had the little winding pivot pin in the front of this suspension arm. But Rory Cole was actually out marshalling at the time, and I managed to go back out the track, and him and I were searching for this last little piece, and just so I could get that pin out, because I didn't have a spare pin. So when I had a spare arm, but I didn't have a spare pin. But anyway, this is what goes on at the track. But you know, Rory Cole is really good sport, and thank you very much, Rory, for helping me locate this little piece in the grass. That was, you know, if it hadn't have been for him seeing when my car was broken, because it broke right near him, I wouldn't have been actually able to run that car at that event again. So anyway, so yeah, I am a big supporter of what John does, because John has been for some time now. Sure, he's a business and he's there to sell things and make money, but he also reinvests some of that money and he puts it back into these projects, and I can't thank him enough. So, you know, this is the difference in the two suspension arms. So this is the original Losi XX4 arm, and this is his arm, and you can see straight away just how much beefier his arm is. So I'm probably going to say that it's going to have a lot less likely chance of actually breaking, especially at this front section here where I reckon they break the most, which is or in through here, and he's just a bit more bulky. So I think he's listened to the races there, and he's chased up and a design and helped us out with them for these cars. So no longer are we going to deal with these really fragile arms. I'm sure these are going to hold up really well, and no doubt he'll end up making rear arms as well. And the good thing about the rear arms is he can make the same arm for the XX4 and the XX, because it takes the same suspension arm. So if you're watching this, John, definitely do the rear arms, and I'm pretty sure they're not left and right. I'm pretty sure they can be swapped left and right, so they don't have any toe-in as standard on that arm. So that's going to be a good project for you to do as well. So anyway, that's where I am with it so far. So no, this isn't a paid advertisement. You know, I am more than happy to support those suppliers and manufacturers of these really cool things that help us continue to keep these cars out on the racetrack, or if we're building up for display. And nothing better than having a nice new set of rims you can put on your car for the shelf, and the car can look its most marvellous. So anyway, that's where I'm at. So thank you, John, and so please everyone, if you're interested, and you absolutely should buy his products because they are fantastic. I don't think I've even broken a single rim of his yet, and you know, we're not racing on smooth surfaces, we're racing on some pretty rough tracks here and there, and you know, there are concrete corners and all sorts of things you can hit, so parts do break. So his parts have stood the test of time, and so I will include a link in the description. Please go and ask John if you're after some bits and pieces and get an order in with him, so you don't have to go through eBay or anything like that. You can actually get an order in directly through his website. And anyway, that's where I'm at. So thank you very much everyone for choosing to stop in and check out this video, and do go and support John at JC Racing Products, because he's supporting all of us. And so thank you, John, and thank you to the viewers who've chosen to stop in to, oh, I'm just getting tongue twisted now. Anyway, thanks guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.